In this video, we're going to be making a drawstring bag that's very similar to this one. It'll have an outside fabric, a lining inside fabric, a white piece of fabric with that you can embroider on, and a drawstring channel. However, there are some things that are a little different. Instead of having grommets attached to the actual bag, we'll have tabs that'll stick out like this. And instead of having a cord like this, we'll have a cord made out of fabric. There are some neat things that you'll need from home. These are a sewing machine, pins, an iron and ironing board, a washable marker or tailor's chalk, thread, fabric scissors, a chopstick or pencil, and a ruler. Alright, so I've got my outside cotton fabric piece laid out on my ironing board, and I'm going to take my first pattern paper piece and line it up with the shiny plastic coated side touching the fabric. And I'm just going to line up the edges of the fabric and the paper, and this just saves me saves fabric, and it also saves me some cutting to do. And I'm going to iron it down with my iron. If you have an automatic iron, it might not work on this paper, so you can just trace around it with a marker. Yeah. And so now we can take our second pattern, or paper pattern piece, and line it up as well, and then iron that down. And so now the paper is stuck to the fabric for a little while. So now I can cut around the edge, and I'm going to need another piece out of this fabric with this pattern, and then we're going to do the muslin. Okay, so now we're going to fuse our interfacing onto our small piece of muslin for embroidering. What we do is we put the bumpy side of the interfacing down in the middle of the fabric, and then I've got here a piece of cotton fabric. You could use a cotton t-shirt or whatever you like, and I've gotten it slightly wet but not dripping. I'm going to cover the whole thing with that, and then put my iron down just on top of it for 10 seconds. Check. And now your interfacing is fused. Okay, so I just finished ironing and cutting everything out, and when you're finished, you should have 2 skinny pieces out of your outside piece or fabric, 2 big pieces out of your outside fabric, and then 2 white pieces. Alright, now we can start embroidering. So I have my embroidery floss here, and I'm going to measure it out first. About an arm's length, so like that much. Now embroidery floss has 6 strands total, and you can split it up into 2 strings of 3 strands. Just like this. And slowly untwist it so that now you have 2 strings. Alright, so now I can thread my needle with one of them. And tie a knot in the end. Alright, so now we can take a pencil just like this one, and we're going to lightly draw or sketch out what we're going to embroider. I'm going to write my name. Just really lightly, but enough so that you can see it. And now you can embroider it. You're going to want to use backstitch for this. so that there are no holes or anything. And just embroider on the lines. Okay, now that you're finished with your embroidery, you can tuck the ends under and pin it down to one of your outside pieces. Once you're finished with pinning, we're going to sew it around the edge with a white thread with your machine. Alright, now take your 2 channel pieces and fold the short ends in towards the middle, like this. Once you've finished pinning them down, you can sew them down with your machine. Then once you've done that, you can fold them in half lengthwise and iron the crease. Alright, now take one of your outside pieces and lay it down right side up. Then take one of your channel pieces and lay it in the center of one of the shorter sides, like this. Make sure that all the raw edges are on the same side. Then take one of your white lining pieces and lay it on top, kind of like a sandwich. Pin them all together. And take your ruler and draw a line. That will be your sewing line. So make sure that this line is not too close to the raw edge, but still leaves enough space for the channel to have a cord run through it. About a 1/4 inch away from the raw edge. Then what you want to do is sew down this line, backstitching at the front and the end. Repeat with the other 3 pieces as well. Okay, now lay out one piece that's all sewn up, and take your 2 grommet pieces and lay them down on the outside fabric, lining up the raw edges of the ground pieces with the raw edges of the outer fabric. This should be done on the opposite end of the channel. So now all you want to do is sew them down so that they're attached. When the grommets are sewn on, you can lay the piece out again, and then take your other piece and lay it down right sides touching, so that the outer piece is touching the outer piece and the lining is lined up with the lining. The channels should be touching each other as well. Now pin it together, starting at the channels. And pin it all the way around.